Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed, with surprising facts and just enough humor to keep you hooked. Today we're plunging into the vibrant, vast, and often underexplored cultural landscape of Nigeria. Our mission on this deep dive is, well, it's to extract crucial insights into four quite distinct Nigerian states: Bauchi, Benue, Gombe, and Kano. We've gathered all the relevant research notes, documents, and basically we're here to distill their unique cultural elements, their histories, traditions, food, landscapes, you get the idea, their identities. Think of this as your essential guide, really, to understanding the profound diversity within Nigeria, all curated for you from the source material. So let's unpack this incredible cultural tapestry first. What immediately strikes me about these states is just the sheer ethnic mosaic you find within their borders. How does this rich diversity really manifest itself in the unique traditions and daily lives of these communities?
Yeah, it's striking, isn't it, how each state, even being part of the same country, boasts such a distinct ethnic makeup. Take Bauchi, for instance. You'll find like this remarkable mix of over 50 tribal groups. Hausa and Fulani are prominent, sure, but also groups like the Balewa and Sayawa, among others. And it's predominantly Muslim, maybe 80%, which, deeply influences everything: daily life, governance, social norms.
80%, wow, okay.
Then, if we shift over to Benue, you're looking primarily at the Piv, Idoma, and Ijade communities. Now here, it's largely Christian, but, and this is interesting, traditional spiritual practices remain incredibly strong. So you see this fascinating blend of beliefs.
A real mix, then.
Definitely. And Gombe.
Yeah.
That presents yet another rich mosaic. You've got the Fulani as the majority, but also significant populations of Tangale, Waja, Tera, Balewa, Gashchem, Dadia, Tula, Workum. I mean, they speak over a dozen languages there.
A dozen. Incredible.
Yeah. And religiously, it's almost an even split, maybe 55, 60% Muslim, 40, 45% Christian. And again, groups like the Tangale still honor their traditional beliefs.
Yeah.
It's a complex coexistence.
Really complex.
And finally, Kano. Predominantly Hausa and Fulani, yes, but historically. It was a truly cosmopolitan medieval trade hub. Yet Arab, Tuareg, Kanuri communities drawn in. Islam arrived really early, by the 11th century, and it just profoundly shaped everything: society, law, festivals, architecture. It made Kano a key Islamic center for the whole region.
So the key insight isn't just that Nigeria is diverse.
Exactly. It's how this diversity creates this vibrant tapestry where, even neighboring states keep fundamentally distinct identities. It really challenges any monolithic view of the nation.
That truly paints a picture of distinct identities, even within one country. And to understand why those traditions developed like they did, we probably need to dive into the history, right? The events that shaped them.
Absolutely. Each one has a fascinating story influenced by, powerful regional empires and then later the colonial era.
So how do these historical roots connect to today?
Well, you see these distinct trajectories. Bauchi, for example, named after a hunter, Bausha. Its emirate, that's a traditional Islamic state under an emir, was founded way back around 1800. That was under Shehu Yakubu during the Sokoto Caliphate's expansion, a huge Islamic empire in West Africa.
Right. The Sokoto Caliphate?
Then the British conquered it in 1902, and it officially became a state much later, February 3, 1976. Gombe was actually carved out of it in 96. Oh, and Bauchi is also home to the tomb of Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa.
Nigeria's first prime minister?
The very one. It was declared a national monument in 1979, so a direct link to the nation's founding.
Okay. What about Benue?
Benue was established the same day, actually, February 3, 1976. You find fascinating history there, too. Pre-colonial marks like ruined trenches in Kwande used for defense in the 19th century, and colonial traces like the old Royal Niger Company trading stores in Makurdi.
Yeah.
Speaks to its strategic importance, Sadly, it also suffered that devastating flood in 2012. Displaced over 1 million people. A stark reminder of ongoing challenges.
Yeah, that was terrible. And Gombe, it split from Bauchi.
Yes. Gombe officially became its own state on October 1st, 1996. Its pre-colonial roots include the Northern Gombe Emirate, founded back in 1804 under Bubiyero, also part of the Sokoto Caliphate. But that contrasted with the separate traditional governance of the Tangal people in the south. Then it got incorporated into British northern Nigeria early in the 20th century. So a blend of influences.
And Kano, its history seems particularly deep.
Oh, Kano's history is ancient. Settlement around Delahill goes back to the 7th century. You have the powerful Pagoda dynasty dating to around 999 CE, and those massive mud walls, built between 1095 and 1134 CE, expanded over centuries. They were called the most impressive monument in West Africa.
Wow.
This legacy from ancient dynasties to those fortifications, it really underscores Kano's role. Not just the city, but a deep-rooted cultural economic powerhouse for centuries. It finally fell to the British in 1903.
That's a powerful narrative of resilience, isn't it? And evolution. You can really see how these historical foundations, dynasties, caliphates, colonial times, state creation, they still shape things today. Okay, so after exploring their history, what really brings these cultures to life are their traditions, their celebrations. What were some of the most dynamic festivals or musical traditions you found?
Oh, the energy and artistry are just remarkable, often deeply rooted in community and history. The Durbar Festival is probably the prime example.
The horse procession.
Exactly. It's huge. Celebrates Eid, state events. You see it in Bauchi, Gombe, and especially Kano. In Kano, it's centuries old. This amazing equestrian parade riders, horses, all elaborately dressed. And the sound, those long ceremonial trumpets, the kakaki plus drums. It's a massive cultural landmark.
Good for tourism, too.
I can imagine the sound alone must be incredible. It really is.
Yeah.
But beyond the Durbar, Bauchi has its own lively local festivals, like the Kokua and Dambe Festival that's traditional boxing and wrestling, very energetic. And things like the Lake E5 Fishing Festival. Its music features trumpets, drums, praise singers, and this evocative Hausa praise poetry.
Local traditions still going strong.
Very much so. Then in Benue, you have the Akata Benue Fishing Festival. It's an annual thing in June. Fishing contests, drumming, boat races, wrestling, dances. It really brings the community together. And the Agade Agba, their New Yam Festival, a major celebration of the harvest.
Right. Yam is huge there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Musically, you've got Idigate cultural music, traditional drumming, chanting, folk stories, and the Tiv dance, a really vibrant mixed-gender dance tradition with live drums. Very dynamic.
Sounds fascinating. And Gombe?
Gombe hosts the Gombe Cultural Festival annually. It showcases Tangale, Tera, Fulani, Waja cultures, drumming, dances, masquerades, crafts. The Tangalo also have specific festivals like Tunga and Bai, sometimes called the Dog Carnival, which are full of ritual and folklore. Music is central everywhere, really. Praise, singing, percussion ensembles driving the celebrations.
And Kano, besides the Durbar?
Well, the Dubar soundscape is dominant, those kake melodies, the drumming, the praise singers. It's immersive, but you also find this rich tradition of Hausa poetry being recited, in palaces, in markets. It's a living art form.
That paints such a vivid picture. From your research, was there anything that surprised you, maybe in its complexity or how influences blended?
Well, what's really striking is how many of these traditions, especially the Durbar, aren't just shows. They're like living historical reenactments. They connect modern communities directly to their ancestors. There's this deep continuity.
So they're not just museum pieces?
Not at all. They're evolving, They incorporate new things, but keep those core identities alive.
Okay, from the sounds and spectacle, let's shift focus. Something equally delightful, the food. The culinary traditions, the local flavors. Food always tells a story, doesn't it?
It really does. And there are some interesting common threads and unique specialties here. Across Bauchi, Gombe, and Kano, you'll find tu shinkafa. That's a rice-based swallow food, like a starchy staple you eat with soup.
Right, like fufu or pounded yam elsewhere.
Kinda, yeah. And there's tu masara, the maize version. They're typically served with these delicious soups. Miyang kuka, made from baobab leaves.
Baobab leaves. Interesting.
Yeah. And tashi, a rich pumpkin soup. And kubewa, which is okra soup. Oh, and you absolutely have to mention suya, those grilled meat skewers, usually spicy. And kilishi, which is like a spiced dried jerky, very popular in Bauchi, Kano, and Gombe.
Suya and kilishi, yes. You find those all over, but they must be special there.
They really are local favorites. Now, Benue really stands out. It's often called Nigeria's food basket for a reason.
Because they grow so much.
Exactly. Yam, cassava, rice, maize, soybeans, groundnuts. It's incredibly fertile. And their signature idoma dish is okoho soup. It's made from the Cissus papaulnia vine, and it's known for being, well, slimy.
Slimy, like okra.
Even more so, maybe. But it's cherished, especially for ceremonies, usually served with pounded yam.
Huh. I'd be curious to try that.
It's definitely unique. In Bauchi, you can also just enjoy fresh papaya, lots of local snacks in the markets. Simple but good. And Gombe offers spicy, rich dishes. Lots of rice, vegetables, meat. Caters to those classic northern Nigerian tastes, often with a good kick of spice.
It's fascinating how the geography and history just translate directly onto the plate. A delicious way to understand identity. Speaking of geography, let's take that journey through the landscapes, the wildlife, the iconic landmarks. It sounds like a real blend of nature and human history.
That's right. They're all in savanna regions, Sudan, Sahel, Guinea savannas, but they look different. Bauchi sort of hints at the Rocky Joe's Plateau nearby. Benue has those incredibly fertile plains along the river Benue. Gombe has more undulating hills, rocky outcrops, plus the Gongo River and lake dating Kowa. Kano is generally more semi-arid.
And the wildlife. Bauchi's Yankari Reserve sounds amazing.
It really is. Bauchi has Yankari Game Reserve, one of Nigeria's largest. You can see elephants, lions, hippos, baboons, buffaloes, plus the famous Wiki Warm Springs.
Warm Springs, too.
Yeah. And there's also Sumu Wildlife Park, which actually has giraffes, zebras, antelopes donated from Namibia.
Wow, from Namibia. Okay.
In Benue, the river is full of fish species, naturally.
Yeah.
And you find savanna wildlife along the edges. Interestingly, pythons are sometimes used ceremonially in some traditions there.
Ceremonial pythons. Okay.
Yeah. Gombe has crocodiles and hippos near its rivers and lots of diverse bird life. And Kano has its zoo and botanical gardens. Yankari isn't too far either, accessible via Bauchi.
So beyond the wildlife, what about the cities and landmarks? You mentioned Kano's walls.
Right. So Bauchi City's capital has the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, a railway legacy. Yankari and Wiki Springs are the big tourist draws. Oh, and Toro LGA there is one of the largest local government areas in West Africa, apparently. Rich in Fulfulde culture.
Interesting. And Benue.
Benue has Makurdi, the capital, right on the river. Bustling place. You can see those Royal Niger Company ruins. Visit Ikwe Wildlife Park or the city zoo. Kaboko is another key town known for cement, and it's the seat of the Tortiv, the traditional Tiv ruler. And Oju in Ege land has landmarks like the Agbiloko statue, the Epinu Sacred Forest, and these really picturesque hills, Andabila and Uwoku, with waterfalls.
Waterfalls, too. Sounds beautiful.
It does. Gombe City, the capital, has the Emir's Palace, Pantami Stadium. Natural spots include the Dadankoa and Bolonga dams, and the foothills of the Muri Mountains.
And back to Kano. Dala Hill, the palace.
Exactly. Dutsi, or Dala Hill, is that ancient spiritual site, one of the original settlements. Gidan Rumfa, the Emir's Palace, 15th century, still absolutely central to city life. Gidan Makama Museum, another 15th century palace, now a museum showcasing Kano's history. The Great Mosque, also 15th century. Those incredible ancient city walls and gates like Kofar Kudu. And Kermi Market, also 15th century, one of Africa's oldest, still vibrant markets.
It's incredible, that density of history. Does this geography, this landscape diversity also shape the challenges or opportunities beyond just tourism and farming?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about Kano's semi-arid nature. Historically, that pushed people towards commerce, towards those trans-Saharan trade routes. It helped make it the center of commerce.
Right, out of necessity almost.
In a way, yes. Whereas Benue's fertile plains, that naturally led to its food basket identity, focusing on agriculture. So yes, geography profoundly shapes economic paths, the challenges, the opportunities.
That's a powerful point, how the environment shapes destiny. Okay, finally, let's bring it all together. How do things like language, state mottos, influential figures, how do they define each state's identity and legacy?
It's really insightful how these things weave together. Language-wise, Hausas is huge. Widely spoken, often the lingua franca, especially in Bauchi, Gombe, Kano. It bridges gaps between ethnic groups.
Makes sense.
But Benue is distinctly different. Tiv is the majority language there, alongside Idoma and Izgeti, reflects its own unique population. And you still have numerous other languages, Chadic languages like Balewa, Sayawa, Kanuri, Tongale, Tera, Waja. It's linguistically very rich. English is official, of course.
And the mottos, they seem quite evocative.
They really are. They capture an essence. Badi is the pearl of tourism, highlights Yankari, the springs. Benue is proudly the food basket, emphasizes that agricultural strength. Gombe calls itself the jewel in the savannah, points to its natural beauty in that landscape. And Kano, fittingly, the center of commerce, reflecting centuries of trade history.
Those are really distinct identities. And the people, notable figures.
Yes, they embody the states too. Bauchi gave Nigeria Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, the first PM, a foundational figure. More recently, Governor Bala Mohammed, academic Jude Rabo, footballer John Egbunu, the musician Techno.
Technos from Bauchi. Okay.
Seems so.
Hmm.
From Benue, you have political figures like David Mark, and of course the global music icon Innocent Idibia Two-Face, or Tababa now.
Right. Tubaba. Huge.
Definitely.
Mhm.
Gombe has Amina J. Mohammed, the UN Deputy Secretary General, huge global influence.
Yeah.
Also Sheikh Dahiru Bauchi, a major Islamic scholar. Isa Pentami, the novelist Hilan Habila, entertainer Momi Gombe.
Quite a list for Gombe.
Indeed. And Kano. It's defined by its historical emirs, its strong scholarly legacy, think Bayero University Kano, and its renowned artisans. Leatherwork, weaving, dyeing pits. Very famous.
Local greetings. Anything unique?
Well, Islamic greetings like Assalamu alaikum are common across the northern states, naturally. In Benue, you might hear the Tivit greeting, I songe, which is like, how are you? Even the name Bauchi apparently signifies freedom and tourism in Hausa contexts. Hints at a welcoming spirit.
It's clear that language, mottos, people, they all play such a vital role in shaping the local story, but also Nigeria's overall narrative, distinct yet interwoven. So, wrapping this up, what does this deep dive into Bauchi, Benue Gombe, and Kano really mean for you, the listener? Why should you care about these specific layers of Nigerian identity?
Well, I think understanding these unique layers gives you a much, much richer appreciation of Nigeria's diversity. It moves you beyond just surface-level facts, doesn't it? It shows how these distinct histories, cultures, geographies, they all contribute something different to the national tapestry. It highlights this incredible complexity, this resilience, and, this detailed knowledge really equips you, whether it's for future learning, maybe travel, or just any engagement you might have with Nigeria. It helps you see not just one country, but really a vibrant collection of unique worlds within it.
And there you have it, an incredible journey, really, through the cultural, historical, geographical richness of Bauchi, Benue, Gombe, and Kano. We've seen just how distinct their traditions are, from Kano's profound Islamic heritage and those amazing city walls, to Benue's food basket identity and that unique okoho soup and Bauchi's incredible wildlife in Yankari. Now here's a final thought for you to ponder. Given these really distinct identities and traditions, Kano's heritage, Benue's agriculture, Bauchi's wildlife, Gombe's mix what might be the most powerful way for these diverse regions to contribute to a unified yet equally vibrant future for Nigeria, something to think about.